All right, we're excited to be here. This is Whitney Fisher and Kelly Sutton behind the camera. And we're here with Randy, getting a message out to all our friends and family to give an update on Randy, who is an innocent man and has spent 60 days incarcerated in South Carolina. So we're just going to let Randy tell his truth and his story.
Well, they asked me to do this video, and what I want to do is get this out there so people who have been in similar situations can all, know that there's several of us who've been through this that need to get together and allow this, or not allow this to happen to no more than it needs to. So that's basically why I want to share this video, and to let people know that, a lot of people thought there was a scam going on because they just couldn't believe that I could be incarcerated for the charges that were brought against me. And, it was really, it's crazy, but, I want to put this out there so people can see, first of all, the injustices that are supposedly taking place across the country that people just, they can't fathom.
Yeah. So give us a little background on what the day was like. What day was it? Where were you at? What were you doing?
I had just started a new job, and I had gone to work that morning at 3 o'clock, and I was on the way back home from work that day. It was like 12:30, like lunchtime, and I was about 2 miles from the house, and I saw blue lights behind me, and when I stopped the truck and pulled over to the side of the road, I saw that there was 3 officers approaching my truck, 2 on the left side and 1 on the right side. And so I cracked my windows, and as I saw them approaching the truck, I heard one of them scream out, "Get him to tell you he's a sovereign, get him to tell you he's a sovereign." And so I knew that this wasn't going to be a normal traffic stop. And, with 3 officers, I knew there was something really different going on than just a traffic violation.
So where was this in the town?
This was in Ridgeland, South Carolina, kind of like in the business district of downtown. I mean, it was basically, a lot of people around. It was lunchtime, so there was a lot of traffic happening. So I knew I wasn't speeding, so I didn't know what the situation was going to be once they got to the truck. But once I heard one of the officers holler and said, "Get him to tell you he's a sovereign," I knew, what I was getting ready to face.
So what happened when they came up to your window?
Well, basically they came up, and I was, I let them know that I was not going to roll the window down anymore because I didn't know what was going on, and I was wanting an explanation to why they were pulling me. And they immediately began to ask me to get out of the truck. And I said, "Well, can we talk about what's going on here?" I said, "Step out of the truck," and each time they said it, it got louder and more intense. And I was talking to the guy on this side of the truck, and he looked over through the window at the other guy and said, "Go ahead and bust his window out." And as I turned and looked, I saw this chrome bar that looked like a meat tenderizer, and he was swung back like he was getting ready to bust my window out. So I said, "Whoa, no." And immediately at that point, I rolled the window down, and these 2 officers on this side, one of them reached in and grabbed my arm and opened the door, and the other one stuck a taser in my back and started tasing me. And
you weren't resisting them?
No,
you weren't being aggressive?
No, I was just wanting to know what was going on. I mean, I felt like it was my right to know why I was being pulled over and why I was being asked to step out of the truck. First of all, I didn't have my shoes on because, I'd been working that morning, and I just pulled my shoes off for the drive home because my feet were hurting. So they dragged me out of the truck, and at that point they stuck the taser in me and got me to spread eagle on the ground out on the highway, and they wouldn't stop tasing me until they got my hands behind my back. And once they did, they put cuffs on me, and they told me to get up off the ground. They wouldn't assist me to get up off the ground. They told me, he said, "I'm going to explain to you how to get off the ground, and I want you to get up on your own." And once I got up, they led me over to the tailgate of my truck and put the tailgate down and made me sit down on the tailgate. And at that point, I noticed there was like 10 cars back behind my truck at that point with blue lights flashing, and there was officers just walking all around everything, and traffic was backed up for both directions, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So anyway, I said something, "You're stopping me for speeding or something like that?" And I said, "Well, how fast was I going?" And he said, "Well, fast enough." And they never really gave me any reason or indication that I had done anything as far as a traffic violation other than that one comment. But once they got me on the tailgate, these two guys in black sunglasses came up and started talking to me. And their questions were, they kept asking me, "Are you a sovereign?" And I would say, "No, I'm a living man." And he said, "Well, doesn't a living man think like a sovereign?" I said, "Sir, from my understanding, a sovereign is now defined as a terrorist of the United States." And I said, "I am not a terrorist of the United States." He said, "Oh, you're a smart sovereign, ain't you?" And, it's just those comments. Those comments were very derogatory. And, it was obvious that he said that he didn't like the way that I thought about the government and that they were going to teach me a lesson. And, I could just feel that was what was taking place. And I said at one point, I said, "I do not consent for you guys going through my private vehicle." And he said, "Yeah, I know you don't." And, there's just little comments like that that I knew that, there was something deeper going on than a traffic violation.
Did they, were they, when you were on the tailgate, they were searching your truck?
Yes, they were going through my personal property and through my wallet, through my cell phone. They were going through everything that they could possibly go through. And I just, I said I did not consent to this. And he said, "I know you didn't."
So then what happened after they searched the truck?
They put me in the back of the police car. They continued to search the truck, put me in the back of the police car. They still, at this point, had not read me any tickets. They had not read me any rights. And they would come in the car and ask me where such and such was. And, basically told my wallet, everything that I had was in the truck. So they found my wallet eventually and went through my wallet, found out who I was. And at that point, they called a rollback wrecker service to come and pull my truck off the highway. And the officer got in the car with me and proceeded to talk to me like it was a buddy or something. He said, "Oh man, you can talk to me. You can tell me, you're a sovereign, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, sir. I'm not a sovereign." And I said, "I don't feel like we have anything to talk about, But he, like I said, he never read me my rights or anything. And when we got to the jail, they immediately told me to strip, and they wanted to do a cavity search on me for whatever reason. I didn't understand that. But they told me to get naked, and they were going to do a cavity search, and then they immediately switched me into a bright yellow uniform and tried to get me to sign documents that I just wasn't interested in signing. I told them I wasn't going to sign. They eventually brought a lady back who was very hateful to me, and she explained that there would not be any contact made with me, that I would not be fed any food, and there would not be given any like bond, or guess, so I could get out of. I wouldn't be able to make phone calls or anything until I signed something. And so at that point, I decided to use the under duress signature, and I signed a document stating that I was being put in jail, but that was all I signed that day. They put me in a little cell that they called the drunk cell, but it was completely covered in urine and fecal matter, and it was, just disgusting. And they gave me a little thin mat, like a yoga mat, and a blanket, and told me that was my home for the next few hours. And so I ended up staying in there for like 3-4 hours maybe, and they called me out at one point. He said, "We're going to go take you to get your bail hearing." I said, "Well, I didn't think y'all were going to do this for a few days." He said, "Well, we decided since you playing nice, we would go ahead and let you do it today." So they take me to this little room in the jailhouse that has the court, the judge, and like a bench, up high, and he goes through all this paperwork with me, and I don't understand this $10,000 bond he's put on me, because at this point all he had done was write me 4 tickets, and I didn't understand why it would be a $10,000 bond for 4 tickets. But he proceeded to write a bond out for $10,000 and said that this would be they were going to serve a warrant on me for resisting arrest and assaulting, beating, and or wounding an officer. And I said, "Well, this is not true." And they didn't care. They decided that
So there were over 10 policemen there, and there was no video coverage?
I have not seen any video, but they all had little video cameras on their collars, and I know they all had video cameras in their cars. Because the car I was in, there was actually video playing while I was sitting in the car, and I was watching everything going on from the video player in the car. So I know they had video cameras, but I've not seen any of the video yet.
Okay, so they served you this warrant after you were...
After the bond hearing.
After the bond hearing?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened after that? You were taken to another kind of cell? Or?
No, they put me back in what they called the drunk cell and left me there. They just, they made loud noises, slamming doors and talking loud, and it's hard to... it's just so loud in there. It's hard to sleep or anything. But
how long were you in that cell?
3 days.
3 days, and were you allowed out at all?
No.
So they just put food in and...
Yeah, they put food through the door, and your toilet's right there in the room. But it's just the smell of the room was disgusting. It's just putrid.
So then.